Event going.
You're listening to High School Sports Talk on ESPN Radio, presented by VirginiaPreps.com. Now let's get back to your hosts, Matt Hatfield and the coach, Ed Young.
Great event going on every year, this time at Lakeland High School in Suffolk. It is the Old School Basketball Classic, where some of the premier players of past years, yesteryear, hit the hardwood to showcase some of their skills and rekindle some great memories. And we bring in the head basketball coach on the boys' side of the Lakeland Cavaliers, the man orchestrating the event, Clint Wright. Coach, thanks for joining us. Always an exciting time out there today, is it not?
Oh, yes, it is. Good morning to you, Matt, and Coach. Good morning to you guys. It was good listening in on the first couple of minutes of the talk show, and super excited about having an opportunity to talk to you about the Old School Classic.
Yeah, I know Ed always looks forward to this every year. He's like a kid in a candy store with posing some of the pictures and all the great times, seeing some of those players that either he's coached or gone up against, and many of the players you know from your playing days, Clinton. First off, tell the folks how the concept came about for the Old School Classic, because a lot of areas do these alumni type games, if you will, yes, and they're successful and they're well attended. Yours out in Suffolk, as you guys know, being in Suffolk, it's sort of a different element and different animal, almost elevated to newer heights.
Well, for starters, I mean, Ed was definitely phenomenal or significant in the way he started with Suffolk High School. So he's a perennial part of what we're doing with
Coach right there. Hang on one second. No, I thought it was my headset too. Literally, I did what you just did and thought we had an issue with the phones there, and it just cut off. So we'll try to reconnect with Coach Clint Wright. That was strange. I literally looked over at my headphones like you did at the same time.
I started jiggling
because that
stuff
happens. We have to jiggle it here sometimes with the audio equipment. I was like, what just happened here? And Thomas bolted, so I don't know if something must have happened in there. I have no idea. All right, let's see if we got. I'm not sure if that's Coach Wright here. We'll try to effort him and see if we can get him right back on the program. Always a fun time.
Yeah, the Old School Classic, which is coming up, and we're going to get Clint back, and he'll be able to talk about it. It is going to go on today at Lakeland High School in Suffolk. I think it's the 5th annual, and we bring back yesteryear stars from from Forest Glen, John Yates, John F. Kennedy, and Suffolk High.
All right, I think we have Coach Wright back with us. Coach, you out there? Coach, you there?
Yes, I'm here now. I apologize.
No, I think it was on our end. But let's restart that again. Tell us how the concept came about over there with the Old School Classic.
Well, actually 6 years ago, Michael Britt, the late Michael Britt, was running a community service day here in Suffolk. He was doing his event the first week of June, and apparently that time, 6 years ago, he had some teams that were supposed to have been coming in and playing, and they opted out and could not meet that date. He asked if a couple of guys from the city of Suffolk, players that played in respective high schools, could, I guess, replace those teams that didn't come down. And once I saw the concept, I'm like, wow, man, that's a great idea. Of course, Mike continued to have his community services day in June, and I opted to go the first week in August as an Old School Classic. I thought it would be a phenomenal fundraiser for the boys basketball team. And then also it gives those people of the city of Suffolk an opportunity to see the players that they once knew and loved. You'll have an opportunity to laugh at us or an opportunity to be amazed that we can still play this game called basketball. So I've been running this event for the last 5 years. I got a phenomenal committee that helps me with my organizational procedures and things like that. So we have locked in on the first Saturday in August going forward as the Old School Classic weekend, and we're making it a reunion-centric event. There's a lot of folk that are in town to see not only this event but all the other activities that we had planned. But ultimately it started off as us being a replacement for some teams that didn't come down, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't come down because it also gave us an idea to move forward with, this Old School Classic that takes place the first Saturday in August.
And it's grown into a pretty neat event, has it not?
Yeah, and the thing of Clint that I'm amazed by is, again, being close to the situation, being a coach at Old Suffolk High School when I first came to Virginia there, 5 years, 5 great years, had the opportunity to show how old I am. I coached against Clint And, of course, he was at went on to Norfolk State, had a really good career, and still a guy that can play because he stays in his lane. And that's the key of today. Guys need to understand, stay in your lane. You're not 17 anymore. The injuries now don't take 24 hours. It may take 24 days.
So we're not going to see a lot of dunks out there.
No.
You might see some grabbing of the rim and some attempted dunks, but I don't think you'll see as many rim grabbing as we would say. But you'll see some jump shot making, some ball handling, and some guys that's going to be definitely sucking for some air for sure.
And the thing, too, about it now, Clint, is, and this is what people have to understand, Suffolk, the city of Suffolk's tradition is basketball. And that's what drew me to there. And then when I got there, it was like, wow, the great player. And I'm not saying that other cities don't. No, I need people to call from Norfolk, Virginia Beach, say, hey, we got it too. I understand all that. But what Clint has been able to do is draw on the history, the legacy, tradition of Suffolk, bring it back. And the guys do take it serious. Some of them take it a little too serious, but it is a lot of fun. And the crowds, that gym is packed every year.
That is correct. We are super excited. We've actually tagged in a reunion type of environment. So you get a chance to see people you haven't seen in 10, 20 years. We've got at 11:45 about 22 females. So we've got a female exhibition which comprises of Suffolk High, Forest Glen, and John Yates, females that once played the game, back in the day. And they'll be actually tipping off at 11:45. We've given them an opportunity to play in the gym, get used to the floor and the gym scenes and things like that. And it was amazing, their first interaction with each other. They sat there and reminisced and hugged and talked about things. I thought, hey, when are you guys going to, play basketball? But it was great to see the gestures and the tears and the hugs because those people had not seen each other in a long time, and we're using the game of basketball to bring them all back together.
And the other thing you've done that I think is absolutely tremendous to you and the committee, you made it an event. It's not just a game or a couple games. If I'm not mistaken, you had a get-together last night, Friday night. You have the game today. There's one of my favorite parts, the after party tonight. And then you have, I think, another event Sunday. Can you go over those particular activities?
I sure can. On last evening, we were at the Holland Rec Center where we had a tailgate. We actually purchased items for folk to consume. We had about 300 people, in attendance at the Holland Rec. Easily have to look for a much bigger venue to hold the number of people that were in attendance. And then, of course, today starting at 11:45, we've got the female exhibition. 1 p.m. we've got Surrey and Southampton playing. 2:30, John Yates and John F. Kennedy, and then at 4 p.m. we've got Forest Glen and Suffolk High. Later this evening at Roger Brown's at 9 p.m. we'll start the after party social gathering of the alumni. And then on tomorrow morning we'll all worship at the YMCA at Camp Arrowhead. We'll close it out definitely with significance and giving thanks to all the things that has been given unto us.
We're chatting with Clint Wright. He's the head boys basketball coach at Lakeland High School in Suffolk, which will be the site of the Old School Classic, starting at 11:45 a.m. with the female alumni game. Then they got Surrey, Southampton, as he said, at 1, Yates, Kennedy at 2:30, Suffolk versus Forest Glen at 4 o'clock. Go give a donation out there, $5, and support a great cause. It's High School Sports Talk presented by VirginiaPreps.com on ESPN Radio 94.1, Ed.
I would caution people, though, if you're going to go, as we always say when the big games in Suffolk occur, you better get there early because the gym does fill up, and they don't leave. It's not where they're just going to come and watch one game. They want to see games, and there is some trash talking going on. And I've talked with some of my old players, and so it looks like Suffolk High has not lost in the event, and now it's becoming a really serious business that people want to try to see Suffolk lose. And Forest Glen is bringing in some heavy artillery, I understand.
That is correct. Suffolk has definitely been undefeated in this event. I definitely applaud the efforts and the way those guys will play, but they also understand the purpose. The purpose is to make this an exhibition. Yeah, it is competitive because we once were, some 25 to 30 years ago, and I think that Forest Glen, Anthony Reed is in town to help out, with the Forest Glen players, along with Vermont Struthers, Eric Williams, Raymond Goodman. So you almost see a starting five from the Forest Glen era that should be fairly competitive. I think it's going to be a very entertaining basketball game going forward. So we're truly excited about that opportunity. And, John F. Kennedy and John used to have some battles also, but I think that the Suffolk High Forest Glen nightcap, as you would say, would be definitely entertaining.
Clint, I never asked you this, and I've asked this to Ed, and I'm just curious to get your thought. There's been so many great players come out of the area, and especially in Suffolk. I mean, you've coached some of them. You've played against some of them before you went to Norfolk State and coached in Suffolk. Is there one player that sticks out, whether it be from his overall ability or was the hardest guy to guard or the most exciting to watch? If there was like one player you'd pay to see, is there one that sticks out?
I think to me, in my order of playing against him and actually defending, I think Michael P. Bird Britt, even when he was a little older than myself, but when I played against him at the historic Birdsong Recreation Centers, he was the most difficult player because he could do it at all three levels. I think next to that would have probably been a Lamont Struthers, a guy that I've actually had to defend in the Pro-Ams, which has 1,001 basketball moves. Now, I'm not ranking them one or two, but those are the two players that I've had the most difficult time in attempting to defend. And, when Britt did play, he was just a tough cover. I mean, he gave you ball fakes and finger rolls and jump shot step backs. I mean, he had the total package, and definitely he will be sorely missed. He will be sorely missed in the community because theoretically, if you think about it, him allowing us to play, some 6 years ago as a replacement set, if that hadn't happened, we would have not have birthed this type of situation that we're going now. So definitely, I would think those two have been the most difficult people that I've had to defend, and will definitely have to do that again if I ever play against Lamont for sure.
And Clint, let me piggyback on that by saying I agree. Now, I never got to see Michael play. He was way before my time. But when you talk about the history of it, and he's dropping, I think, 38 points on Ralph Sampson in a state championship game. And they did cover each other. That in itself, Lamont, was tremendous. I thought he was a pro in high school at Forest Glen. I had a coach against him, and his brother Calvin Struthers was no slouch either. And then you got the idea of him moving on to little Christopher Newport University, at the time college, and he gets to play in the pros. Now, I got to throw people. Clint Wright was a pretty doggone good player too, strong rebounder, couldn't move him, and you knew not only did you have skill, but you knew the game, which I knew you're going to be a coach because you beat people with your mind. Everybody tries to beat people with your body, and you beat people with your mind not only in high school but at the college level too. You got to throw in a guard by the name of Tony Smith, who can still light it up. Had a great high school career, tremendous college career at Pfeiffer University, and then he played over in Spain for 11, 12 years, did a number over there. Those are, I throw you in there, and I'm not saying that because you're on the air. I don't need to say that because you're on it, because it's what I've gone against in terms of coaching, and of course what Tony Smith has done. And I don't want to miss any of the guys I've coached. Marcus Elam, James Riddick. I've had Dontrell Bright. Of course, he was at Nansemond River. Guys that stand out in my head real quick, but just so many guys. And then Forest Glen just had tons. You mentioned Anthony Reed, Eric Williams, and Calvin Struthers. It's going to be cool to watch. People want to come back and see what Suffolk had. It's the time to do it.
You guys would be hard pressed to do a first team all Suffolk and second team all Suffolk because you'd be leaving guys out.
Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough.
That is true. And getting in regards to Tony Smith, of course, he's my assistant here at Lakeland High School. I've never had to check him. I don't think I would ever want to try and check him either. That's definitely someone that will be a tall, glass of water to try and swallow. But Tony, is significant in my staff. He challenges some of the things that I do. He does a lot of the substitution rotation. So little does one know, any of the games that we attempt to win or have won, Tony has been very, very significant in making those decisions or helping me to make that decision, for the success of the basketball team. He has a tremendous amount of experience, and it's amazing how eyes are always upon him at practice. And whenever he talks, the players listen because he can definitely still play. And if he needs to provide an example, we definitely allow him to do just that.
Well, again, go out there to Lakeland High School today. It should be a fun time. The Old School Classic, the female alumni game at 11:45 a.m. 1 o'clock is the Southampton-Surrey matchup. Keith and many others looking forward to that one. 2:30 is Yates versus Kennedy, and I'm sure it'll be packed by 4 o'clock, if not sooner, for Suffolk versus Forest Glen. Again, a $5 donation helping out the basketball program. Coach, we thank you so much for the time, and we'll get you on again because I tell you what, Southeastern District ought to be fun this year. Last weekend at Virginia Wesleyan, all four of you guys were undefeated with you guys at Lakeland, Nansemond River, Indian River, and then Western Branch, and Western Branch beat Indian River in the championship. So I don't think it's going to be some easy resting for you and Coach Young this year in the Southeastern District.
I don't think so, and I'm very optimistic. I think the fact that we're now relevant, we can be in the conversation with most of the higher-end ball clubs. And I truly say what a difference a year will make, with Lakeland basketball, and we're super excited about November the 30th, indeed.
Coach, I'm hoping you win every game but two.
I hear you, but we're not going to do any interviews and things like that. I'm only talking to Matt.
That's right. He is the jinx. You're absolutely right about that.
Oh, we're definitely going to interview Clint right before we play them. That's a must. Have to. They'll be undefeated. We have to talk to coaches that are undefeated.
I'm only talking to Matt. It's my good luck charm for sure.
There you go. Appreciate it, Coach. Have fun out there today, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
See you later, Clint.
Appreciate it.
That is Clint Wright, head boys basketball coach at Lakeland High School, here with us on High School Sports Talk, presented by VirginiaPreps.com.